On September 14, 2097, the last human being set foot on Earth's surface and did not return. There was no explosion, no asteroid, no single catastrophic moment that ended it all. There was only a door closing quietly behind her. A woman named Dr. Amara Osei, a Ghanaian climate archivist whose job it was to record what remained. She carried one bag. She did not look back. And as her shuttle cleared the upper atmosphere, the planet she left behind was still breathing. Barely. Painfully. Like something that had forgotten how to stop. This is not a story about the end of the world. This is a story about how long it took us to admit it was ending.
The scientists called it cascading systemic collapse, a term deliberately chosen for its distance from human feeling. But the people living through it had simpler words. In the summer of 2061, when the Arabian Peninsula recorded an air temperature of 67 degrees Celsius for 19 consecutive days, they called it simply unsurvivable. When the Mississippi River shrank to a shallow creek by 2069, farmers in what remained of the American Midwest called it gone. When Jakarta finally surrendered to the sea, not dramatically, not in a single tidal wave, but slowly, building by building, road by road, disappearing beneath warm gray water over the course of 11 years, the 22 million people who had once called it home called it something that has no perfect translation. In Bahasa Indonesia, the closest word is kelihanan. It means loss so complete, it becomes part of your body.
The warnings had always been there. We had the data as early as 1990. We had the models, we had the scientists standing in front of cameras, voices barely controlled, telling us exactly what was coming and exactly when. And for over a century, humanity responded with the one thing it had always been most gifted at: delay. We delayed in boardrooms. We delayed in parliaments. We delayed across election cycles and quarterly earnings reports and international summits where men in expensive suits shook hands and signed documents that meant almost nothing. And while we delayed, the planet did not. By 2075, the migration numbers were incomprehensible. 4 billion people in active displacement. The word refugee had been quietly retired from international law, not because the crisis had eased, but because it described almost everyone. Coastal governments collapsed first, then agricultural ones, then the landlocked nations that had assumed distance from the ocean meant safety, only to discover that the ocean's death was everyone's inheritance. The orbital stations, Arcadia 1, Arcadia 2, the Shenzhen Ring, New Geneva, had been under construction since 2051, originally proposed as scientific outposts, later reimagined as lifeboats. The evacuation wasn't a single dramatic moment, it was a bureaucratic one. Registration forms, medical screenings, capacity limits, the unbearable human mathematics of deciding who leaves first.
There were broadcasts from the stations, families already settled in low orbit, waving to cameras, speaking to relatives still Earthside with the particular brightness of people trying to seem fine. And from the surface, final transmissions that were quieter, more honest. A father in Nairobi recording a video for his daughter already aboard Arcadia 2, standing in front of a baobab tree that somehow still stood, telling her its name in Kikuyu because he wanted her to remember there had been words for beautiful things. An elderly woman in Kyoto sweeping her doorstep at dawn, not for any practical reason, simply because she had always done it. Because the ritual still meant something, even if nothing remained to receive it.
In those last years, the cities didn't vanish, they were left behind. And there is a profound difference. Shanghai's skyline stood perfectly intact when its last residents departed in 2089. Towers still gleaming, highways still mapped, parks still plotted in green on satellite imagery. But nothing moved inside them. The silence of an empty city is different from any other silence. It has a texture, a weight. Explorers who went back in those final years described it the same way, almost uniformly. It felt like the inside of a held breath. Some people refused to leave. This is documented. thousands of them, scattered across every continent, who looked at the shuttles and said, no. Some were elderly and had made their peace. Some were ideological, people who believed humanity had surrendered too easily, that the planet could still be saved if enough of us stayed to fight for it. Some simply could not conceive of an identity beyond the soil they stood on. Indigenous communities in the Amazon, in the highlands of Papua New Guinea, in the Outer Hebrides. People whose relationship to place was so deep, so ancient, so woven into who they were that leaving felt not like survival, but like erasure. History does not record all of their names. This is one of our failures.
The last day on Earth did not feel like the last day on Earth. That is what Dr. Osei wrote in her final archive entry, timestamped 04:17 a.m., September 14th, 2097. She had spent the night in what had once been Cape Coast, Ghana, near the castle where, centuries before, enslaved people had passed through the door of no return on their way to a life that was not their choice. She found it meaningful, she wrote, to be here, at another threshold, at another door.
The sky that morning was the color of amber,
Not from sunrise,
but from particulate matter, from the permanent atmospheric haze that had given equatorial latitudes their copper-tinted light for nearly 2 decades. But she wrote that it was beautiful. That was the word she used. She wrote that the ocean was still moving, that a gray heron stood at the waterline absolutely motionless, watching something she couldn't see. She wrote that she heard wind in palm fronds and thought, the planet is not dead. It is damaged and it is suffering, and it may never recover in any time frame meaningful to human life. But it is not dead. It is still trying. She wrote, I wonder if that makes it better or worse.
When her shuttle cleared the atmosphere and the blue curve of Earth appeared in the porthole, that particular devastating blue that astronauts have described for over a century as the color of something you didn't know you loved until you saw it from the outside, she did not cry immediately. She looked at it for a long time. She took her photograph. She wrote one final line in the archive. It read, "We had so much time." That is the truth that lives at the center of this story. The one that history cannot soften no matter how many decades pass between us and that morning. Earth did not die in a single catastrophe. It did not burn in a moment of dramatic finality. It was something slower, something more human. It was neglect, sustained across generations. It was the particular tragedy of creatures intelligent enough to see the future and fragile enough, politically, psychologically, emotionally, to keep choosing the present instead. The planet is still there. It circles its star with the same indifferent precision it always has. Storms still form over its oceans. Forests still grow in the places humans stopped burning them. In 1,000 years, perhaps 10,000, something may breathe clean air there again. Life, if anything has survived, will find a way, because life, we now understand, is more stubborn than we were. But we are not there to see it. We are here, in stations and ships and pressurized habitats pressed against the dark, carrying with us the languages and the music and the photographs of a world we were given and could not keep. We name our corridors after rivers. We name our children after mountains. We celebrate the anniversary of rain. And somewhere, in the archive that Dr. Amara Osei gave her life's work to preserve, a gray heron stands at the edge of a copper-colored sea, still watching, still waiting, still there.